quote, clothes are like a good meal, a good movie, and a good piece of, or great pieces of music. This is from Michael Kors. Now, the fashion industry in Nigeria plays an important cultural role and contributes significantly to the country's economy. Clothing incorporates a variety of colors, fabrics, and embellishments. Many of the component cultures of Nigeria wear styles that are unique to their tribal society and custom. Now, Nigeria is known not only for its fashionable textiles and garments, but also for its fashion designers who have increasingly gained international recognition. And we are honored to be having Obinna Samuel Omero. He'll be here to discuss the changing face of fashion in Nigeria. We'll do that, but first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. You are still watching Ways. National Apple Pie Day is observed annually on May 13th. Yeah. Now, the first apple pie recipe printed was in England in 1381. The list of ingredients included good apples, good spices, figs, raisins, pears, saffron, and coffee. What's that? Uti, help me out. A type of pastry crust. While the apple pie existed well before the pilgrims landed on the eastern shores of what is now the United States of America, Americans wax poetic about how American apple pie is the face as American as apple pie. Oh, okay. Has around the world for more than 100 years. Now, Nasabisha, I tasted one in London. So happy National Apple Pie Day. Yeah. It was really nice.
Apple pie is delish.
Really nice.
Delicious.
You know, when I see it on TV, you just think, when I tasted that one, that particular one,
it was really delicious.
It was really good.
But I think I prefer the way it's made in the UK. So in America, they do the.
Someone is a snob.
No, it's not that. Like, wait now, let me learn. But you know, when they were showing the pictures now, they showed the American style, so it has the lattice pastry across it. But in the UK, it's done like open with like a crumb on top, and the crumb is nice and crunchy, and so it's a nicer thing. But I mean, the Americans have taken it. They own it. They own it. It's like
it's the British
as American as apple
originated.
pie. It's their almost like go-to dessert, right? But I mean, the UK, there's plenty different desserts. I mean, come on, what's cheesecake? What's apple pie compared to cheesecake? I mean, if we're going to start calling desserts, there are seniors in the game.
I do not plan.
Are we still talking about apple pie?
I did not plan to go drooling inside the.
Sorry, don't talk to me about food. Then that's the effects. Food is in the house.
I think some of these things you just see them, you know, and you know, there's a culture. I don't know. I think it's in the UK when you move into the neighborhood, you know.
And that's America.
You have to bake something.
Bake something
and
take it around. Why don't we do that in this country?
Because they would think you want to poison them.
Well, apart from that as well, I think that like neighbors, we keep to ourselves, don't we? A lot of people don't interact with their neighbors as much as I remember as kids. Like your neighbor's house was like your house. You used to run in and out and all of that, but these days everybody sort of keeps to themselves.
Cautious,
yeah, we have to though. It's a sign of the times.
Yeah,
sad but true.
I think so.
Absolutely.
But yeah, apple pie, yay! Some great places in Lagos too where you can get apple pie.
Oh, tell me about them.
We'll talk off air.
Yeah. So, Manny, what did you find first in the news?
Appeal court nullifies judgment voiding section 84(2) of Electoral Act. So, a division of the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court sitting in Umuahia, which nullified the provision of section 84(12) of the Electoral Act 2022. On Wednesday, a three-man panel of the Appellate Court, led by Justice Hama Akao Baka, held that the Federal High Court Umuahia lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the suit. The Appellate Court contended that the plaintiff, Ndụka Edede, did not have the locus standi to file the suit in the first place. Consequently, the Court of Appeal struck out the suit marked Federal High Court CS 26/2022, which editor filed before the Umuahia Division of the Federal High Court. So finally, we can have some peace, although some people say they are going to take it higher. But I think for now, we are safe.
For now.
Yes, we are safe for now.
Okay. Uti Elu.
Okay, so I missed all the court cases and political resignations, no resignations. I think I tried to stay away from that. So my headline says, fuel scarcity, FG counters IPMAN as IPMAN on 500 billion naira claim, provides payment details. So this story has been floating around for the last few days. First of all, IPMAN came out to say that, that's the Independent Petrol Marketers Association of Nigeria, came out to say that the government was owing them 500 billion naira in bridging claims.
Wow.
So these are the payments the government makes. So of course, the landing cost of petrol, or the landing cost of our petroleum products, does not include the cost to transport it up country, and everywhere else. So
really?
These funds are what the government pays to ensure that the public is not carrying the cost, or the marketers are not carrying the cost of that transportation. So we can all still buy at the pump price of 160 something naira, that it is. So the idea is that IPMAN has come out to claim that the government was owing them 500 billion. So this is the government countering their claim to say that how are they owing them 500 billion, that they came out in December to state that they were being owed 50 billion, but IPMAN is claiming that between December and May, they have paid them every month, that the only time they haven't paid them is in March. Now, I suspect what is going on here, if you've ever worked in financial services or anywhere where you need to reconcile ledgers, you know how there's always money going in, money coming out. So there's never a point where you can say all the money that should have come in has come in and all that should have gone out has gone out.
Because
So
it's going out.
Exactly. So this is, goods that are being transported every day. You come in, you make a claim, there's reconciliation before you are paid. So I possibly, maybe that reconciliation process, maybe they have claims that have not been, even claims that they've not been able to validate, because he comes out to say that, for us to pay you, we have to validate and reconcile before we pay you. So if we haven't done that, how can we pay you? So potentially, but I mean, 500 billion, this is 500 billion naira. That's a lot of money.
So they just need to sit down and just.
But I mean, given the fact that there was fuel scarcity coming back in places like Abuja and some other places up country, just an important story for us to keep an eye on, because fuel scarcities are never. I mean, we just came out of. I don't even know that we can say we fully come out of it. And then this comes out.
Because it's still
again.
a bit sketchy.
It's still a bit,
So sketchy.
Yeah, the minute you see a queue, you're like, and you check your time.
If I go like 1/4 of my whatever, I just quickly go and talk to them because I don't want to hear.
And every time you see a petrol station with more than a few cars, you're thinking, you check your gauge and you actually buy.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Uti, what's up with Emefiele being walked out of the villa? Because we talked about it yesterday.
I'm trying to stay away from this story.
Stay away from it.
I think the main problem for me is I'm not in the middle of where it's all happening, and the stories are conflicting. So you see one media house reporting that he has stepped down. In fact, it wasn't even Emefiele, it was the attorney Malami. Yeah, so you see one claiming that he has dropped his political ambitions and he's keeping his job. Some others say he's resigned. So I'm staying away from those conversations because, look, it's going to unfold however it unfolds. And, it's just, we're talking about it.
Emefiele was walked out of the villa by the press.
So I read the story, but again, I don't know.
Well, how is she supposed to
know that? She sent
asking her a direct question. Like, how is she supposed to know
because the fact is, all I was seeing was so many conflicting reports. I mean, even wasn't it just yesterday that they were reporting that he said Nigerians are funny, or what was it that he said, that he's having a good time watching us pull our hair out, he's laughing at us. So
yeah, well, we've seen the news, or we've seen the news, and what we hear is that he's been asked to resign. He was given 48 or 24 hours, but nobody knows if it's true.
Exactly. So we don't know.
Is he resigning and is he dropping out of the
we don't know which yet.
Race? So we don't know what it is. We'll just wait and see.
All right.
People
so government inaction fueling blasphemy. This is blasphemy-related killing, says CAN. Now, the Christian Association of Nigeria on Friday condemned the killing of Deborah Samuel, a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education in Sokoto. Muslim fundamentalist, saying enough is enough. A statement by the General Secretary of CAN, Joseph Daramola, said that, according to him, that these vampires must be brought to book, that the unlawful and dastardly action of the perpetrators must not only be condemned by all right-thinking people, but the security operatives must fish them out, prosecute them as it is expected of them. It is a failure of the security agencies and the government to and the government needs to rise up to such criminalities in the that has given birth rather to terrorists and banditry in the past. As long as the state fails to bring these beasts, he calls them, and animals or criminals, and meets us to book, so also the society will continue to be their killing field. So I talked about, yes, you want to reserve your comment? Why? So we talked about this yesterday, and I was a bit worried because for someone to have the boldness to go on national TV, in front of the camera, he was being filmed, and he knew he was being filmed, so he faced the camera and he was bringing out the matchbox and saying it in Hausa language, you know, and Ashana, he was saying, this is the match I used to kill the girl. So I get it that maybe the girl should have done something wrong, right? So does this mean that for every agitation, we should all now act like criminals? You know, no matter how agitated you are, we always talk about religious tolerance, right? I went to an all-Muslim school. All Muslim. This one is not like this thing. This school is, we are a Muslim school. If you are coming in, you have to conform to our rules and regulation. And my parents still took us there, right? And they respected us that we were Christians. This is a school that boys were not in our class. It was all girls class, all boys class. A proper Islamic school, right? And I enjoyed it. I had fun. Growing up, I would say the Muslim prayer, I would say the Christian prayer in the assembly hall. So I know how to say the short prayer in Islam, right? So it's not, I mean, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. Instead, it gives you the level. That's why sometimes when people talk about religious wars and all of those things and condemn the Northerners, I cannot bring myself to doing that because I've had very good neighbors.
Yes.
We just have bad people in the society. And everybody's shielding under that religious, umbrella to say it's not religion. When someone is evil, the person is evil. It's not about religion, right? So that's why it's important that the government must be able to fish out these people, because it's not religion. People in my house when I was growing up, when there were those series of crises, I remember one particular crisis that they came to our house, a mob, and wanted to burn down the house because they knew that the house belongs to. They didn't know us, but they knew that the house was a Christian-owned property, and they wanted to burn it. Our neighbors that were Muslims stood in front of the house and told them if they finish burning this house, they must burn their own, because these people have been nothing but good neighbors. Are these not the same Muslims that we talk about today? So when we see things like this, it's not a function of that you cannot accommodate or tolerate people's conversations about religion. Does not mean that it should not be heard, or people cannot make those kind of mistakes or whatever it is. And you now take that you take it upon yourself to say you want to kill somebody. Are you doing it on behalf of your God? So I don't think it is right. Whatever it is, the government must prove that they are totally against these kinds of gruesome killing.
Yeah. So this thing that what you've just said now, we can't deny that this is a sign of the times. The Nigeria you're talking about, the experience you had is a very different country.
Very,
now.
very, very
the
different.
people that you are talking about, when you talk about, religious fanaticism is not a new thing, and it's not a concept unique to Nigeria. But you ask yourself, how do people become fanatics? The fact that you have people who are not properly educated about the foundation of what their faith is, and you've been trained and taught to think about your faith in a certain way. That's why you have situations like this. The sad part of it is there was an article, so when you talk about leadership, there was a tweet that was apparently taken down where Atiku had condemned it, and then was being called out, and then apparently took it down, and then put up, allegedly took it down, and then put up another one in Hausa claiming that the original post wasn't from him.
Really?
Yeah. So the reality of it is that this isn't even something, and that's why I said I'll reserve my comments, this isn't even something that should make the news, that it is Khan that is saying it. Any right-thinking human being should know that in any context, jungle justice has no place.
No.
So it shouldn't take Khan coming out to say that these things need to stop.
Sure.
We should have all our leaders coming together to say, you know what, any kind of jungle justice, any kind of criminality will not be tolerated.
That's
what it should be, because even if you said she did something wrong, what are the rules? What is it that is the proper process for her to go through? Even if there's a provision for it in Sharia law, something, but not that you just decide to take a life because you feel that your faith endorses it. I mean, it's not even a religious conversation in my perspective.
It's not a religious, it's just plain humanity. So we'll take a break now. Let's discuss fashion. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of guns.
Whatever I've done,
I every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others.
Thanks for staying with us now. Nigerian fashion has always been distinct, statement making, and very defining. Now a forerunner in not just Africa but all over the world, the Nigerian fashion industry has undergone several changes over the years and decades, reinventing itself, taking part of the old and mixing it with the new, yet retaining its distinctive allure and flavor. Nigeria is not only known for its many fashion, textiles, and garment pieces that are distinct to her culture. She also birthed many fashion designers who have developed many techniques and businesses along the way. Now, what ways do you think we can change the face of fashion in Nigeria to even better, to a better place than where we are right now? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 01-803-84663. All right, ladies, you are the fashionistas actually on this set. What's your money?
We're trying.
What a way to bring you people up on a fashion day show. But tell me, if you were to describe where we are, I think fashion is one of the biggest things happening for us as a country.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, fashion and music.
Fashion and music, yeah.
So tell us how, your experience and how do you think where we are now?
So I think for me, the biggest shift was when growing up in Nigeria, there was always this thing about the people who came from abroad, like the gendered people. You could tell what they were wearing was not Nigerian and all of that. And then there was the trajectory for me, the way I saw it was then there was this influx of nicer clothes coming through the bend down boutique and all of that. And that's where people then used to try to shine and compete. But where the real shift happened for me, and I think that part of that comes from the transition we had into a very rich and healthy celebrity culture, was that people started off with, what are you hearing? And you would hear Gucci, Fendi, Prada. And the shifts for me started to happen on red carpets. So you would have interviews happening and then you would hear, oh no, what Tiffany are you wearing? Amber. And you hear Tiffany Amber. You started to hear, you started to hear all these brands. And it felt like, of course, as social media also happened, right? With Instagram, where we became more visual in the things that we were looking at. It created that channel. So Buy Nigerian was a murmur, it was a whisper. And then it became
louder and louder.
So now it would sound ridiculous for you to go to the AMVCs, for example, and they ask what you're wearing, and you say you're wearing Fendi.
Thank you.
So exactly, Fendi Q there. So that shift for me, I think, was what I started to see.
Say that?
She said it wasn't me, guys, but I just gave it volume. But the truth was, that was the shift. So we became proud to wear Nigerian. And the key shift for me, personally, because I was that person, again, times have changed. I used to stock up. I have big feet. And, people like to call onion purple or something green. I don't know what all these colors are, but help me. That's what you see on wedding invitations, right? So I used to have all these, I used to stock suitcases of clothes so that I always had something to fit into whatever was called, or shoes or whatever. I was never comfortable buying Nigerian, not because I didn't like we all did the Ankara, sewing of Ankara, but everything else.
So now do you buy Nigerian shoes?
So you would just ask, I buy Nigerian everything.
Really?
So I buy Nigerian shoes, I buy Nigerian. In fact, we were just talking today and I was saying before the show how when I travel, I just want to buy makeup or cosmetics.
And that's all.
I said, oh, you don't buy clothes. I'm like, why? I will come to Nigeria and I will buy everything I'm wearing. What I'm wearing now is by Nigeria. It's Nigerian.
This is
Nigeria.
Exactly.
You guys are popping.
Hey, Valerie Black. But, so the quality has improved. The options, just type dress on on Instagram,
You'll be lost.
inundated.
You'll be lost.
So we've come a long way, and I'd say
Absolutely.
kudos to the industry. I'm
Absolutely.
all for it. All for it. All
Absolutely.
for
How are
it.
you, Manny?
Yeah, I'm good. So for me, I'm really into fashion, you know, and like Uti said, it's just like our hair relaxers. We used to have these relaxers coming from abroad. I think there was Dark and Lovely. So we used relaxers that were not good for our hair type. So now there's fashion. We now have the people who know our style.
Our bodies.
Our bodies, you know, make
Our
our
fabric.
clothes, our fabric, make what we want to see, what we want to wear. So now, of course, it's more interesting because you have all these people doing a lot of things. And then we look at what it's doing to our economy or for our economy.
Absolutely.
So we can't look at only the beautiful part of it without looking at how it's impacting on our economy.
Absolutely.
So for me, I just think it's a very big thing, a very big leap, and kudos to everyone that has made this happen.
I'm telling you, if you want to just know how the fashion industry is going, go on Instagram. I mean, Rita Dominic had a wedding recently. You could see all her bridesmaids were styled by beautiful designs. You know. So, I mean, Nigeria is making
We've
us
come a
proud.
long way.
And we have one with us here. Obina Samuel Umero is a triple threat in illustration, style, and design. He is one of Nigeria's leading fashion illustrators for the brands Omero.ng and As Drawn by Obi, having been acknowledged locally by top personalities such as Michelle Dede, Tiffany Amber, Emmy Casbet, Orange Couture, or Culture, rather Larry Da Silva, Ajayi, and also globally having his work cited by Nicey Nash, Shailene Woodley, Marc Jacobs, and even Anna Wintour. Obina takes the principle of function and structure and applies them to art and style through his illustrations and fashion designs, respectively.
Wow.
In 2011, while pursuing his bachelor's degree, he began taking on styling projects such as the ad campaigns for Uti Nwachukwu and video shoots for Yemi Alade. In 2015, he began teaching fashion illustration and sharing his self-trained knowledge with aspiring fashion designers and illustrators. Having tutored over 500 budding entrepreneurs and counting, Obina is renowned as an inspiring tutor across Nigeria, both privately and in fashion schools such as the Fashion Academy, Kathy Anthony, Anna Jacob, and Just One. In 2016, the vision further blossomed into birthing of a fashion design brand focusing on redefining contemporary menswear on the continent with a growing clientele base of Nigeria's vibrant fashion-forward youth and young at heart, even celebrity personalities as Ice Prince, Kenneth Omero, Mawuli Gavo, and Ike Onyema. The brand is on the quest to take the world with one outfit at a time. With each season's presentation, he aims to take his audience on a journey. He's always been on the focus on the fantasy aspect of fashion, but Obi is very, very much a product of needle thread and hard knocks industry of Nigeria. He built his own business slowly, working for decades from his apartment, creating clothes and nostalgia and memory of his childhood. In the rapid expansion of the fashion industry, Obina Omero also designed and consults for both private and collaboratively with some fashion houses and fashion brands across the globe. He has a very lengthy profile. I had to read everything. And can I add this one? This is hot as they come. He just recently won the, can you break it down for us? The African Magic, right? What was it? AMVCA?
So, the African Magic
Yes.
design for the stars runway.
Yes. That one is the latest addition.
Congrats.
Obina caught some hot millions. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
joining
having
us.
me. Thank you
You
for
know, I
having
said
me.
it was important for us to drag you as it hot, you know,
I
because
know.
that was the first of its kind.
It's the first of its kind.
And I think they flashed some of the designs that you displayed on that runway. It was really, really beautiful.
Thank you
and
so
you
much.
had a very tough competition, right?
Stiff competition.
Very
to
stiff
be honest,
competition,
yes.
you know. But tell us, Obina, welcome again.
Thank you.
Tell us about the fashion industry, right? I mean, you heard Uti, you heard Manny, you know, talk about how we've moved from, you know, calling all sorts of names. Now we are actually projecting a lot of homegrown brand. How does that make you feel as a fashion designer in Nigeria?
To be honest, it feels so amazing. Why? Because like she was talking about her story and I lived that story. You come home and your parents buy clothes for you. Where is it from? It's from the abroad. You can only get clothes when they travel, that type of situation. So it's something that is good. It's such a good feeling when you grow up and you're seeing people wear your stuff. I'm sure a lot of designers can attest to that. You're seeing people, random people you might not even know. They're wearing your clothes, they're buying your clothes, and it's just like everywhere you go, people are enjoying that across Nigeria. So we don't really need to depend so much on the foreign market. Not that the foreign market is bad, but it's also good to have your own. There's nothing like having your own, you know.
You know, so you know how they say that what I ordered versus what I got? Because I see this happen a lot with fashion in Nigeria. Because I think Mani was asking a very, very interesting question that how would you feel if somebody takes because you are not just a fashion designer, you draw, you create designs, you know, and you put them out there on social media, and people just see those designs and they just want to replicate it. And you told her good luck. Why would you say that? You know?
So the thing with copywriting fashion, it's to be honest, you're going to get tired. We, as a young designer, I'm tired. So I can imagine, okay, for example, how do you think Versace would feel if they come to Nigeria and they stroll down the street and Versace. You know, it's going to be a very tough process that even the big wigs haven't really wrapped their head around. So why would I want to really stress myself with that, bother myself with that? If you like my design and if you feel you can reproduce my design, go ahead. I'm still going to produce and I'm still going to keep thinking. The brain that brought that out is going to bring out something else. So.
Okay.
And I think that you've touched on a fantastic point, because there's the confidence of understanding your gift and your talent that says, you know what, go for it. There's more where that came from. When Uwa was reading your profile, I have to salute you. Powerful profile. And a couple of names stood out for me. I mean, Emi Casbit, some amazing work with Ashoke and work here. But the one that I want to talk about is Anna Wintour.
Anna Wintour.
The dragon lady herself.
I heard it, I was like, what?
So, I mean, I'm just looking for gossip.
Oh my God, wow.
Because, we watch the Met Gala and you see all these things happening. So are we going to see some of your illustrations on? Because, when we're talking about Nisi Nash and Shailene Woodley, there's some interesting names happening there. So you're headed in the right direction. But what does the future hold? Where are you looking to go? What's the goal for you?
Well, you mentioned some of them. I would definitely not mind having an Omero piece on the red carpet at the Met Gala. So, amen, God, you're hearing that. But yeah, I've loved the red carpet ever since I was little. I follow up with the shows. I always keep up with who's wearing what, and I make slight illustrations of my favorites, let me put it that way, and I put them out there, and I tag, well, thanks to Instagram, I tag the celebrities, and they're like, oh, nice, this is nice, and they repost it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. Like, I didn't know it was that easy to reach you guys, but it was something nice. And about the Anna Wintour viewing, so it was thanks to Auntie Lanre da Silva. Yes, so she had a presentation organized by Vogue and a couple of big wigs, and so she made illustrations of her clothes and had presentations of her clothes and had an installation that Anna Wintour viewed. So that's how that happened.
Fantastic. Great to hear stories of paying it forward, because Lanre da Silva, she's like,
yeah.
Awesome.
That's very, very good.
You know what? Let's take a break, because it's getting interesting, but we are losing time. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, thanks. If you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with Obinna Samuel Omero on changing the face of fashion in Nigeria. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow, after one with the hashtag Wayshow. All right, so Money, you had a question.
Yes. So this is my question. I heard everything Uti says. I share the same views, and I love the way the fashion industry in Nigeria is evolving. And you know, I can only imagine where we're going to be tomorrow. So even though we've come to this place, there's the good, there's the bad, there's the ugly. So the ugly is a part of what I ordered versus what I am getting. You know, there's still some designers that still don't give you what you want. That's one of them. But what I'm really interested in, you know, hearing from you about is the fact that, yes, we know that some of these designers are very good. We know that the fashion industry is doing big things, but the prices are not good. So you see, my sister turned 40 last year, and we're going to, you know, dress well, wear the big dresses, you know. So we call the big designers. And then one dress cost ₦1 million, 1.5 million naira. I think it's absurd. So if we were still going to be buying Gucci and Prada and everything, we wouldn't even spend that much. So why are these people charging us an arm and a leg for a dress?
You would spend that much and more if you were buying
If I'm to be honest, you would spend much more, you know. But okay, now I cannot say that I'm not in the system and I don't know what is involved in production. Now, if you're doing production properly, it might be expensive. If you're meeting your targets on time, if you have some type of machines, it might be expensive. Now, it's a case of, well, let me just say, going for what you can afford. Because all boils down to quality at the end of the day. So if I'm giving out a certain type of value and quality, I would probably charge for it. Let's be honest, you know. So where I would have an issue with is if I say I'm giving this type of value, but it doesn't meet up. Now, if the value meets up, why not if not? But if it doesn't meet up, then I'm going to have an issue with, okay, you charge so much for so little. I would have a problem with
but
that.
what you're saying is that some people would enjoy these new designs that we have in Nigeria, and some people would never enjoy it.
Now, let's be honest. Let's be honest, some people would enjoy and some people would not. Now, going back to those days of buying clothes from abroad, some people did enjoy, you know, the different grades. So there's something in fashion called grading. It's not like it's a copying, but okay, that this is an original stone, an original jewel, and I'm buying a plastic jewel. They look exactly the same, but those who know, exactly, the costing is different. Those who know. So I would just say it's a free world and everybody can cut their coats to their size.
To their material. But I was going to ask though, because we're talking about the changing the face of fashion in Nigeria. So outside, okay, why I like NAC, for instance, they are not designers. What they're doing, they're mass producing different kinds of clothes that you can walk into a store to pick. So I think where the pricing would be is, you know, people like you are the kind of couture, how not to speak the English, you know, for couture. Red carpets, you know, do elegant events. I called somebody today that I'm going for AMVCA. They say styling is, let me not say for air. I say for what? Am I the one collecting award? I say, please don't worry. I will wear my clothes from my wardrobe. You know, but so I need to understand, how do we plan to do this? Because again, whether we like it or not, there's still a huge market. There's still a huge market gap where I won't start seeing that you walk into regular stores, regular boutiques and all of that, and you see ready-to-wear Nigerian designers all over the place, because the market is here, but some of those ready-to-wear, it is really shabbily done. I can't even touch it with a long pole, right? But very few have gotten it right. Like what's it called? Uti's wearing, what I'm wearing. They've gotten it right, because you've had this thing for a very long time and it seems like I just bought it today. So how do we start to change that and have more Nigerian brands across all price range and also all pockets?
Yeah. So the thing is, there are so many designers doing great things out there and brands doing great things out there. But balancing the books at the end of the day might not be as convenient. So that's what creates the gap in the market. So you're spending so much on like production and all, but it takes your price high. Now, how do we calm down a bit is when things are generally good. I wouldn't have so much issue maybe pricing a piece that I spent hours doing with a generator like I would if there was power, and if power was good, and if power was cheap. You know, if it's an all-round situation, you can't eat your cake and have it at the same time, or you can't have your cake and eat it. Yeah, at the same time. If things are expensive generally, it's going to be expensive for everybody, and some people might not enjoy that. So if this is a plea to the government, so you can help us help you better, because I'm sure I can join hands with every designer and say they want to see their stuff everywhere. They want to see their stuff on everybody, you know. It's not a thing of the rich versus the poor, or, you know, everybody wants to look good and see other people look good and doing good, you know. So if the system was much better, I'm sure prices and quality would be even, and it would be much lower.
So I'm going to move away from the quality conversation because that is a whole show by itself. I want to touch on your other talent, which I think is the most interesting, illustration. Now, I see these gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations on Instagram. And, you know, in my mind, I think, did you always love to draw? Did you always have the talent? It's a multifaceted question. So let me let me ask the second half of it as well. It almost seems today that every designer can draw. Is that true? So do you do this for other designers? How does that process work? Maybe just give us some insight.
Okay, so I was viewing the screen and viewing some old illustrations. Anyway, yes, I draw for my brand. I draw for other brands as well. Now, to answer one of the questions, not every designer in particular might be able to draw.
Okay.
So that's where my service comes in. So they have their creative process and all, but we just help them put it down on paper. It's always easier to move forward when you have like a plan. So the illustrations are the plan in the fashion industry. So we're looking at that, we're working with what we can see to make sure that what comes to life is exactly as it was planned out to be.
You know, it says that you've trained over 500 students in this illustration business and counting, right?
I can't even keep count, to be honest.
You know, so how profitable is it? You know, so for someone that, for instance, is good with the pencil, right? Can the person say, you know what, I'm going to stick to being an illustrator all my life, and you know, how profitable is it for young people? So you don't really, you can be, it's a value chain.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be the designer, but you can have, you can plug and play in the design industry. So how profitable is it?
It is very profitable, but requires a lot of hard work and dedication. It's not something that you just wake up and boom. Do you get? Like the pictures were showing some old illustrations, those were 2010. And now I'm looking at them like,
wow, 2010.
Did I just do that?
Did I actually do that, you know? Because you get better the more you work on your gift, on your craft, you know? So I would say to anyone out there who wants to be an illustrator, yes, it's good money, but it's hard work. Not just physically, but mental work. You're thinking, what's the next design? What's the next this? How do I make it look better? How do I do this? A lot of mental work goes into it as well. Not everybody has to be the designer, in quotes, quote and unquote, the celebrity designer, you know. And that brings me to another point in moving fashion forward. We need to come to a place where it's an industry of different departments. So not everybody has to go the route of being the designer, being the CEO, and you know, the business owner, the front runner. There are so many levels, and everybody works together as a team. I explained this to my team as well. We're a family. I'm not the best at this. That is why I have you here. And if everybody begins to understand that, you know what, I might not be able to do this on my own, but together we can go much further. If we start to apply this into the industry and, into the Nigerian system as a whole, we would move a lot, much more forward together, faster.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so as nice as our clothes look right now, the designers and everything, we still have this mindset that our Ankara, our natives, are for like dress down days or weddings. How do we ensure that Nigerians wear Nigerian clothes to work without that look of unseriousness, like wearing an Ankara to work on a Monday?
So
Yeah, it's changing the fashion.
That's a tough and tricky one, to be honest, because this has come with it has come with so much. It's generations. We've become so used to, work has to be shirt, trouser.
Sure.
In fact, white shirt, black trouser, and jacket on top. This is what we have come to know based on the influences we derived from the West. So I think we're at a point in time where, well, maybe starting from individuals to organizations, we need to redefine ourselves. What corporate means, what our identities mean. I can have a very serious IT company and say, you know what, guys, we're wearing t-shirts all through the week. And we kill our targets, we kill our goals. We need to come to a place where fashion is, yes, you can perceive someone by how they dress, but don't stop there. There can be something upstairs. So you should give that room for interacting with the mind and not just the appearance.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome question because, I mean, I used to work for a company where we were allowed to wear Ankara Monday to Friday. So it's really about changing dress codes and policies, but it starts with changing mindsets of leadership.
Exactly.
But given that we're talking about the business of fashion, I want to come to that side of the conversation. A lot of the thought processes for us when we think about fashion in Nigeria is still on the haute couture side. It's still on the one person, one outfit. You know, that's how design is. But if we talk about the true billion-dollar industry that fashion is, we're talking ready to wear.
Yes.
And I'd like to hear your thoughts around, because there are some brands today in Nigeria who are doing good quality ready to wear. But when you were talking about the value chain, that just sort of struck with me because I'm like, these are the areas where we can really see exponential growth in the industry. So do you have any insight into what it takes today to kick off a sizable ready to wear fashion line in today's Nigeria and today's economy?
To do that, it would take a lot of money and, well, talent, but a lot of money and a lot of mental work, because I wouldn't say the minds are not there that are thinking that way. Also, the talent is there, but a lot of times people come to different bottlenecks based on our system yet again, you know. So we have to, well, find different ways to overcome those bottlenecks. And what are those bottlenecks? You might have issues setting up a large-scale factory because, it's this person's land, or it's one thing. It's always one thing or the other. But I know and I believe that there are so many different ways, and I'm sure there are people out there who are thinking that way, that there are so many different ways we can move this industry forward by giving room. And when I say giving room, yeah, there are going to be some changes that would need to be made in terms of maybe importing, less importing.
I was going to say that fabricking,
Fabric,
because if you want to talk mass production, help me out here.
Yeah.
Obina, we don't have the right quality fabrics.
No,
most
we
of these
don't.
fabrics that
They all come in.
Yeah, most of we are all importing our fabrics, and that goes to Mani's question about costing. It can't come cheap.
Can you see?
Because
like we've been on this table and it's all going round. It all boils down at the end of the day to the system and it's costing at the end of the day. I wouldn't buy an expensive fabric and you expect me to, sorry, I don't want to call an amount, but sew it for you and make it look nice at a very low rate.
Yeah.
I'm not even counting the hours that were put into the work, but I'm just, even the fabric alone is so much, you know.
And even for the cotton, for instance, now, if we were going to mass produce this dress, we will need a factory that has that can cut 1,000 pieces. Yes, you just program. That was what Milola was saying. That at some point she was thinking, how do I move my factory probably to Turkey or something? Because it seems like you don't have the machineries here in Nigeria to be able to mass produce, because she's tired of doing
but
one thing.
That was where I was trying to get at in that the conversation where we talk about the business of fashion, people need to see beyond the design element. So we outsource. So if you go to Turkey, if you go to China,
but if we're outsourcing, we're not taking our income out.
No, that's what I'm saying. So in terms of now insourcing, rather than you saying, I see the business of fashion as having the talent to produce, why don't I bring investors together and create the factory? So you bring me your illustrations and I mass produce.
Thank you.
And you pay me and you go and run your ready-to-wear line and you worry about your creativity. So the question was to try and say, how do we broaden the scope of understanding that the fashion industry is not just about the creative side. There's a very real business side to it. That
Uti, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
That deal with the numbers.
Because when you are saying it, it's like we should just go and look for investors.
Yeah, because you have to. Because some of the conversations that I've had, my own experience of the fashion space has been on the buying side, on the business side, which is why I say. And conversations that we've had with brands abroad is always, you don't want to buy Nigerian. And they say because there's no consistency. And this is what happens. Because you are hand cutting, even if you're cutting by pattern, you
no
can't replicate
how you do it.
Exactly,
there's going to be some glitch.
Alterations.
Yeah, and that is what an international buyer will be looking for. It's the consistency. I mean, even as great as NAC is, if you look closely, you probably find some of those inconsistencies that would not allow our brands to fly. So you find that most of the brands who have that international exposure, I remember reading about Emi Casbit when he did the first Ashoke line, phenomenal. But it's only on an haute couture basis, because even the weavers, he found them somewhere in Osun State or something, they're weaving on the traditional mills. That Ashoke is not going to come out exactly the same every single time. But you can understand that from an haute couture point of view. But when it comes to ready
to wear, you need a lot more machinery and manpower. Until we get the right investing, like you said, I don't see it happening.
But do you see the fashion industry, young guys like you, coming together? If there were to be an investor, Uti and I went to look for an investor, we've created a factory. We are coming there.
Oh, wow.
But do you see that people would be open to that?
I'm sure people are like waiting.
I think so.
Waiting. Because they're, in life, one thing you see is that some people have the know-how, they don't have the means. Some people have the means, they don't have the know-how. But how do these people connect? A lot of people are just eager to find that person, that click, that connection, to push the business forward.
Absolutely. Manny, have a comment.
Okay.
So what's next? So how do you release your, is it seasonal, your collections?
How are you going to be doing it?
Well,
but who are your clients? Are you for guys alone, or you do guys and girls? Because I still love my joggers that I bought from.
That's a tricky question. Years ago. Yes, so I've come to a place where I just focus on menswear, and I help women who can jump into menswear. Let's just keep it.
I like that one that had like a jogger that had a lace on one leg.
Yes.
So those ones we can buy now.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we pre-order, or you have them ready to wear?
No, we would have to pre-order because it was made just for the competition.
I really love that one. I like it. I'm going to order that. Okay.
Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying #ways, talking about changing the face of fashion in Nigeria. It is very simple and important. People want to be current and updated when it comes to fashion. You will be amazed at what people wear these days. Their quality of fashion has dropped. They really dress anyhow. Sister Uwa is correct. My dear sister Uti and Mani are real fashionistas. We love you.
Thank you, Daniel. You don't even need to tell us.
We need people to create awareness concerning fashion with the help of my dear brother in the studio, Obina. Why people travel abroad to buy clothes is because they really want to be current in fashion, because they feel that Nigeria is not current. So you can't blame them. My name is Daniel Ilo, Ways Regular.
Thank you, Daniel. So on that note, I'm going to be ordering. Please patronize our brother. This one is our own.
Buy Nigerian, yeah.
Buy Nigerian. But the good thing about Obina is that I've seen your designs. I've seen what you've done. There's a bit of finesse and quality to it, right? So it's not just patronizing. Even for us, even while we are begging and soliciting soliciting, because when the vice president was saying buy Nigeria to grow Nigeria, we must, for us to sustain food security, that we must grow what we eat in this country. It's the same thing. So we are also soliciting and begging the designers, please, when we order, let us receive let us receive
what you ordered.
Not what we did not order.
Thank you so much, Obina.
You're
We had a
welcome.
fantastic conversation. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you for having
Uti.
me.
Now, before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Dan, we need you to bring more viewers for us. So I'm watching you guys live from Lafia. Oh, thank you so much. All right. In case you missed today's quote, here it is again. Clothes are like a good meal, a good movie, and great pieces of music. It is just fantastic. We'll see you guys on Monday at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akuga. In today's package, we kickstart with a report on reactions trailing the 150 billion naira loan approved recently by the Delta State House of Assembly in the twilight of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's administration. And in politics, we take a look at the likely emergence of Minister of Transportation Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi and Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike as candidates of the All Progressives Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party PDP in their forthcoming presidential primary elections. Wrapping it up on today's package is a report on the negative economic implications of unabating crude oil theft in the Niger Delta. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region will be back after this timeout. Don't go away.
Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, making a difference.
Welcome back. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. With about 1 year left in his 8-year administration, Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa has in the last 5 months embarked on a loan acquisition spree, with the latest one being the 150 billion naira loan, which was approved on Tuesday, the 26th of April 2022 by the Delta State House of Assembly through a voice vote and devoid of any debate whatsoever on the appropriateness or otherwise of the loan. The action by Governor Okowa and the State House of Assembly is generating mixed reactions from Deltans and calling to question the sincerity of purpose of outgoing Governor Ifeanyi Okowa towards the true development of Delta State. Following Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's loan request application, the Delta State House of Assembly on Tuesday, 14th of December 2021, approved the sum of 20 billion naira loan facility from Fidelity Bank to finance the state government's 5% equity in the UTM Offshore Limited floating liquefied natural gas project. Though it may sound like a good investment, but upon consideration that the private firm has had no prior experience in the setting up of a liquefied natural gas plant, one cannot but consider the investment risks to be very high. On Tuesday, February 15, 2022, the Delta State House of Assembly again approved another 12 billion naira loan facility from Zenith Bank PLC. According to Governor Okowa, the loan is to help defray arrears of unpaid certificates earned by contractors working on projects in the state. On Tuesday, 26th of April 2022, the Delta State House of Assembly again approved another 150 billion naira loan facility from Zenith Bank PLC. The three different loan requests were all approved by the Delta State House of Assembly through voice votes and without any debate whatsoever. According to the Delta State Commissioner for Finance, Fidelis Tilije, the current 150 billion naira loan is taken against expected refunds from the federal government to Delta State, totaling 270.6 billion naira.
Federal government was double charging oil producing states with respect to 13% remittances. We had to insist that those 13% must be deducted from all subsidies that were paid from 2010 to date. Those funds were expected to be refunded in tranches to all oil-producing states, including Delta State.
Fidelis Tilije further gives an insight into what the loan will be used for.
We will be spending 20 billion naira out of this fund to reduce state pension outstanding of past due. Also, advance 10 billion naira to the Bureau of Local Government as grant to enable them also reduce whatever outstanding and the negative impact on our pensioners. There are so many legacy projects that this state government has embarked upon.
Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Delta State, Ibata Onojeku Valentine, disagrees with Governor Okowa's intention for securing the loan.
This indebtedness, of course, is the future of our children and our grandchildren that is being mortgaged by this senseless borrowing. It doesn't make sense. We are not seeing anything on ground. You go throughout the state, there's nothing going on, no project. What project are they talking about? So it's quite unfortunate.
Among projects that Governor Okowa's administration is hoping to use the loan to fund is the Ughelli-Asaba Highway Construction Project. This road project, which is about 162.27 kilometers, was divided into three sections and awarded in tranches from November 14, 2008 at a total sum of 51.3 billion naira. This amount, of course, has been reviewed severally. After 14 years, this 162.27 kilometer road is far from being completed and will most likely not be completed before Governor Okowa leaves office, considering the fact that the rains will soon set in. Executive Director for Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, CASA, Barrister Frank Tiete, a Deltan, says the series of loans obtained by Okowa in the twilight of his administration and the hasty approval of such loans by the State Assembly only points to one thing, that there is a suspicious collaboration between the Governor and the Speaker, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, who is scheming to succeed Governor Ifeanyi Okowa.
It is shameful that I do not expect that Sheriff Oborewori would oppose that kind of loan, knowing that it will be in his interest. He wants to be governor, and he is favored by Governor Okowa, and so they can now collaborate against the interest of the people of Delta State, against the future of Delta State, to borrow money to fund elections. That is unacceptable, and it will be resisted. It is unfortunate that such an important matter as 150 billion naira loan will not be properly debated, will not even afford a public hearing, but will be secretly conducted and then simply just announced to the world that they have given approval. It is the height of irresponsibility on the part of the leadership of the Delta State House of Assembly.
Delta State Commissioner for Information, Charles Anyago, disagrees with Frank Tiete and says that the loans have no political undertone.
The season we are in has nothing to do with the decision we have taken.
because otherwise individuals will begin to think that they are looking for money for politics. We are not looking for money for politics.
If indeed the refunds are shortfalls from the 13% derivation payment, why is the Delta State government not respecting its own laws by paying their required percentage of that money to the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC, to fund development in the oil producing communities? Again, Frank Tete says the whole loan issue lacks sincerity of purpose.
We are talking about a government that has not shown responsibility in 7 years, a government that has awarded contracts that have not been completed in 7 years, a government that has had money that it cannot show what it has done with all the monies that it has got from the Federation account in 7 years. Is it now in 1 year that it will take 150 billion to show that there is any development? Look, there will always be reasons why good reasons why they want to take the loan. But we know from history, from experience, as a matter of fact, that these loans are taken only for personal consumption by these unscrupulous, selfish politicians. And that is what the people of Delta should rise up to resist.
Already, Frank Tete has sent a petition to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, which has been received and acknowledged. Titled 150 billion loan, call to prevent barefaced corruption, abuse of office, and unprecedented squandermania by the Delta State government, Barrister Tete is urging the EFCC to save Deltans from themselves. Though the Delta State government has not disclosed the interest to be paid on the loan, it's most likely going to be quite high since it's a bridging finance loan. Also, the loan is taken against federal government's remittances over a 5-year period. With the federal government's inability to comply with the payment in the last 10 years, how certain is the Delta State government that the anticipated remittances will come as at when due? Any default in payment as usual will attract penalties from the banks. Should the Delta State government not have waited for the refunds and used them to offset previous loans? Governor Okowa in the last 7 years has had difficulties investing in infrastructure for the state, as his spending priorities have been focused more on payment of salaries and allowances to his large pool of political appointees, including his over 2,000 special assistants, who do nothing but deplete scarce state resources monthly. Deltans opposed to this set of loans obtained by the Okowa administration are deeply worried that it amounts to mortgaging the future of Delta State and are calling for an immediate termination of ongoing transactions in the 150 billion naira loan sought by the Delta State government.
Inside the Niger Delta.
How the long-drawn rift between Minister for Transportation Rotimi Amechi and Governor Nyesom Wike has mutually benefited them and projected their common Ikwere ethnic nation to national political prominence certainly provides food for thought in political circles. In this report, Inside the Niger Delta takes a look at the antecedents of the estranged political allies who are today forced to reckon with politically and are seeking nominations of their respective parties to contest the 2023 presidential election.
Rotimi Amechi, immediate past governor of Rivers State and 7th Minister of Transportation, and Nyesom Wike, incumbent governor of Rivers State, had been close political allies since 1999. When in October 2007, Amechi became governor through a Supreme Court verdict, Wike was appointed Chief of Staff on account of the confidence and trust reposed in him by his estranged political benefactor. However, their relationship went sour as a result of their political differences sequel to the 2015 general elections. While Amechi, then a consistent critic of the President Jonathan administration, dumped the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for the All Progressives Congress (APC) in a desperate search for political relevance, Wike took over the structure of the PDP in Rivers State and was elected governor in 2015 against the wish of his former political ally. Since then, the two politicians of Ikwere ethnic stock had been on a warpath in the politics of Rivers State. It, however, appears that the prolonged quarrel between the sparring brothers has profited them immensely since they parted ways. Since 2015, Amechi. In the same vein, Governor Nyesom Wike is a force to be reckoned with in the 2023 presidential primary election of the PDP. When in 2015 the PDP lost power to the ruling APC, Governor Wike had taken it upon himself to rebuild and strengthen the party to be relevant in national politics. The protracted quarrel between Amaechi and Wike is also viewed as a blessing in disguise for the Ikwere ethnic nation and indeed the rest of Rivers State. Chairman of Ikwere Local Government Area of Rivers State, Dr. Samuel Wanosike, believes that the likely emergence of the estranged political allies as presidential candidates of their political parties presents an intriguing political scene once again in Rivers State.
It is important to us as Rivers people that we that were not known before or were not reckoned with before politically, that our state is now a political maker or a center of reference in the two major political parties. People are wondering what is going to come out of it.
In pursuit of their presidential aspirations, Amaechi and Wike are currently engaged in consultations nationwide. While on Monday 18th April 2022, Amaechi visited the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeye Enito Ogunwusi, to seek his support, Wike was at the palace of the Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, on a similar mission same day. It is instructive to note that the visibility of Amaechi and Wike as top contenders for their presidential nomination of their political parties remains unrivaled throughout the political history of Rivers State. Public affairs analyst Chioma Agbaroka says it's a most welcome development for Rivers people.
As to Ikwere sons, as an Ikwere man I am, it's a blessing to not just Ikwere as an ethnic nationality, but Rivers State at large.
As both political leaders continue to consult and seek the support of party members in their presidential bid, Dr. Steve Wardu, a university don, gives his blessing to both incumbent governor of Rivers State Nyesom Wike and his predecessor in office, Rotimi Amaechi, irrespective of their... With this development, Dr. Steve Wardu is convinced that the days of majority politics are over in Nigeria.
One can identify, be happy, one can